Shalom. All praises, honor, and glorification unto our power. Call Halan La, Allahayan Awa Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Harakakwadash. Double honors unto the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Salutations as well as health and wellness unto the elect of Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, scattered across the earth. This is your brother Allah coming to you with another lesson. And Lord willing, this lesson will be entitled U.S. farmers hit by chemical shortages, right? And in parentheses, famine, which will be the topic of this lesson, Lord willing. And Lord willing, the elect of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh shall be edified, right? So, once again, regarding the title, U.S. farmers hit by chemical shortages. And this is from June 27th, right? So, I'll start up here. It says, soaring herbicide prices threaten to reduce harvest. Industry experts told the media U.S. farmers have curbed the use of common weed killers and changed their planting plans over persistent shortages of agricultural chemicals. Reuters reported on Monday, citing interviews with industry players. They told the new agency that listen to this. They told the new agency that spraying smaller volumes of herbicides and turning to less effective fungicides increase the risk of weeds and diseases crippling crop production at a time when global grain supplies are already tight. So things are being stirred up, right, for death by way of famine, right? Right, because really we're in a famine right now, but it's just not at the peak, which it will be at soon to come, right? It's not at its peak, right? You see? So once again it says, let me just get to the point. Oh, right here. Turning to less effective fungicides increase the risk of weeds and diseases crippling crop production at a time when global grain prices are already tight. You see? So that's pretty much the point, right? So U.S. farmers have been hit by chemical shortages, right? And who initiated this hit? The Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, right? You see? Because the Lord is stirring things up, right? Meanwhile, right, you got niggas you got niggas watching the BET Awards, things of that nature, right? Meanwhile, the Lord is working. The Lord is stirring things up, right? And death is gonna increase, man. And famine is for lack of better terms, a horrific way to go out, right? That's a terrible way to be put out, man. So let's see, many that dwell upon earth. Right, Second Esdras chapter 16. Bear with me. Baruch Shah. Here we go. And verse 21, behold, victuals shall be so good cheap upon earth, that they shall think themselves to be in good case, and even then shall evils grow upon earth, sword, famine, and great confusion. 22, for many of them that dwell upon earth shall perish of famine, and the other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy. You see? Jumping up to verse 18, the beginning of, matter of fact, let me jump to, before I get that, let me jump to Matthew, the 24th chapter, and I'll start at verse 3. And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of thy coming and of the end of the world? right? What's the end of the world? Speaking of the, I touch on this quite much, right? But the end of the world is dealing with the end of an age, wherein is the rulership of Esau Edom, which is the self-proclaimed white man, right? It's not speaking about the end of the actual earth. The earth will never come to naught, right? And to prove that, right? Ecclesiastes 1 and 4. One generation passeth away, and another generation cometh, but the earth abideth forever. See, so the earth will never come to naught, right? So, and that shows you how precept that, that's an example showing you how precept or backing up the fact that precept must be upon precept. Let me get that really quick. Isaiah 28 and 9. Whom shall he teach knowledge, and whom shall he make to understand doctrine? Them that are weaned from the milk and drawn from the breast. Verse 10, for precept must be upon precept, precept upon precept, line upon line, line upon line, here a little and there a little, right? But jumping back, and then let me get second Esdras 6 and 9. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that falleth. You see? So that's the meaning of Matthew, the 24th chapter, and the third verse when it talks about the end of the world. It's speaking about the end of the rulership of Esau. Verse 4, and Yahushua answered and said unto them, take heed that no man deceive you, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am the anointed, and shall deceive many. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. Verse 7, for nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in divers places. All these are the beginning of sorrows, right? You see? And then going right off of that, 2nd Esdras 16 and 18. The beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, and the powers shall stand in fear, the beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? 19. Behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sin and scourges for a minute, right? And then, it goes on, which we read verse 21 through 22 already, if I'm not mistaken. I believe we did. Let's see. We can also get Ecclesiasticus 40 and 9. Death and bloodshed, strife and sword, calamities, famine, tribulation and the scourge. These things are created for the wicked, and for their sakes came the flood. And something was mentioned, and I'm not sure if it was a brother or elder, but it was a video that was put out, and something was mentioned in there. I think it was the elder Zahab from the GMS Mississippi camp. Matter of fact, let's see real quick. All right. Here we go, right here. Each sword is for the 2/3 of Israel, right? But just laying backing off of that title alone, the things to come, right? The destruction to come is for the 2/3 of Israel, or in general, the wicked, right? Including the 2/3 of Israel, right? Because the actual wicked is Esau, is, the nation of Esau, right? But as far as wicked in general, with Jake being included in that, that's who this coming destruction is for, right? You see, right? See, the elect have that mark of exemption from judgment, right? If I'm not mistaken, that the law. Let me see real quick. Let me check that. But before checking that, let me go to Ezekiel 9 and 4. And the Lord said unto him, right? This him is an angel, right? That the Lord instructed to carry out this particular task. which we're going to get into, Lord willing. Salakia. Go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem, and set a mark upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and that cry for all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof. And to the others he said in mine hearing, go ye after him through the midst of, through the city, and smite. Let not your eyes spare, neither have ye pity. Right, but what did it mention? It mentioned, and set a mark upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and that cry for all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof. Right? And that's the same thing with the elect. Right? The elect have a spiritual mark upon them, which is a mark of exemption. Right? And to prove that, let me pull out the blue letter and go to Ezekiel 9 and 4. Right? Just to improvise and furthermore prove that point. Salakia, no, not Ezekiel 9 and 9. Ezekiel 9 and 4. Right? It said a mark. Yeah, Thawa, right? And right here, as you see, mark as a sign of exemption from judgment, you know, which reminds me of the blood being put upon the doorpost, right? You see, during the time of Egypt, right? That sign of exemption from judgment, you know, right? So, and once again, going back into this, read this point again, right? The title, U.S. farmers hit by chemical shortages. They told the new agency that spraying smaller volumes of herbicides and turning to less effective fungicides increased the risk of weeds and diseases crippling crop production at a time when global grain supplies are already tight, right? So, it's plain, it's clear, man. The Lord is stirring up things for perishing by way of famine, right?